Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Thanks for clicking. So amidst all of this corona craziness that's happening right now, let's talk about the United States specifically. It begs the question, who's to blame? Who's to blame for your businesses being shuttered? Who's to blame for everything closing down? Who's to blame for sheltering at home and social distancing and businesses going bankrupt left and right in the middle of the best economy we've ever had here in the United States? Who's to blame? No, it's not President Trump. It's the American Medical Association. And here's why. I've spoken about these facts at length in the past, and you can visit riseupintohealth.com for more detailed information, for videos that walk you right through the data points that I'm about to reference right now. Like the fellow said, you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to health and medicine and medical treatment, most people in the United States are completely in the dark about half of the medical treatments that are available to them, and they have no idea whatsoever about the evolution in the history of medical evolution in the United States. The simple fact of the matter is that since 1912, we haven't had a free medical market here. In 1912, Congress granted the American Medical Association exclusive control over who could and who couldn't call themselves a doctor. The MDs rose to ascendancy through a hostile takeover, and they have maintained their position at the top with the unimaginable wealth and political persuasion of the pharmaceutical industry. MD-directed medicine is just one type of medicine, and it's really great for heroic intervention, trauma care, and surgery when it's necessary. It's really great. And by the way, that's where all of the advances in the last 100 years in medicine have been made, in better diagnostic procedures, better sterile techniques, better surgical procedures, better drugs to assist in surgery recovery. But for chronic disease, MD-directed medicine is the wrong dog for the hunt. While the MDs have been in exclusive control over the development and the delivery of medicine, a chronic disease is getting worse, and our life expectancy is getting shorter. So now, the vast majority of the people who are dying and generating a burden at hospitals and healthcare facilities where there are, large numbers. There are lots of healthcare facilities, hospitals around the world, around the United States, that haven't been overwhelmed. But of those that are being overwhelmed, the people that are overwhelming them, the patients that are overwhelming them, are the patients with pre-existing health conditions, especially people who are obese and or suffering with blood sugar issues. And then they get the coronavirus, and then they're slammed, not because the coronavirus is so virulent, but because their bodies were weakened. And I would argue not from the diseases that they had, but from the treatments for the diseases that they had. And let me explain that. Your medical doctor, again, may be the nicest person in the world, but they don't know what's best for you. They're only trained in one particular type of medicine, and it's referred to as allopathic medicine, which, remember, is really great for heroic intervention and trauma care and surgery when it's necessary. Thank God for military field surgeons. So when somebody specifically is bothered with a weight problem or a blood sugar problem, the allopaths, the MDs, have no idea what causes those things, and they have no idea how to cure them. They have no idea how to bring those patients back into a state of health. They have no idea. So those patients are managed with drugs, and as time goes by, their systems get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and then they die. And in the meantime, if they get hit with an extracurricular stress like the coronavirus, it's bad. And this is a function of the monopoly that has existed in this country since 1912. This monopoly is so complete that most people don't even understand it as a monopoly. And oh, by the way, the pharmaceutical industry has gone out of its way to tell you that everybody but the MD is a back-of-the-bus quack with substandard, dangerous training. I've made the argument, and I will continue to make it, that exactly the opposite is true. While the MDs have been in charge of everything, chronic disease rates have accelerated. We don't have the best medical care in the world. We simply don't. And that fact is not supported by the data. We have a very expensive medical system. We have an overarching, robust medical system, but it's hardly the best medical system in the world, as is evidenced by the numbers. Alzheimer's skyrocketing, autism skyrocketing. Just as many people get heart disease now as they did 50 years ago, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when patients come to my profession, members of my profession, licensed and regulated naturopathic medicine, we attempt to bring the patient back into health. We attempt to get to the root cause of whatever the patient is suffering from. So rather than just sweeping symptoms under the rug with pharmaceuticals and surgical interventions, we actually attempt to bring the patient back into a state of health, which bodes well for the patient's future. Now, are we 100% successful 100% of the time? No. But the naturopathic intervention perspective here is way superior, much more effective than the conventional medical treatment for all of these conditions: obesity, type 2 diabetes, and viral infections. The naturopathic doctors should have been the first people invited to the president's task force, but we've been overlooked and neglected because of the medical monopoly. You know what? And this gets worser and worser and deeper because of, inside of a monopoly, it's good to be the king and you can get away with anything, and it's a self-regulating, self-policing medical system. So the Centers for Disease Control get a cut of vaccinations. That's not right, but that's the way that it is. The Food and Drug Administration, which is an administrative unit of the government, the members of whom were not elected, make laws around defining your access to medical treatment. According to the FDA in the United States, the only thing that can treat a disease is a drug, and that's just not correct. Members of the FDA have complete control over the vitamin and the botanical medicine industry, even though the people at the FDA have no training, no experience, no respect with vitamin treatment or botanical medicine treatment or homeopathic treatment. They have zero experience with it. And yet these are the people who are in charge of the policy and making the laws. My profession, currently only licensed and regulated in 20 states. Does that mean that the laws of nature change when you cross a state line? No. It's a turf war. It's all about politics. It's all about control. It's all about the money. Follow the money, baby. This is the deal. And this is why we're having such a problem now. So if you're ticked off that your business has been shuttered, that your life has been put on hold, it's not because of the virulence of the coronavirus. It's because of the monopolization of the medical marketplace. That's who's to blame. President Trump needs to create a federal department of holistic medicine. And he needs to give people in that department control over the dissemination of vitamins and minerals and amino acids, essential fatty acids, botanical medicines, homeopathy. Needs to take that out of the hands of the Food and Drug Administration. Let the Food and Drug Administration deal with food and drugs. How about that? Now, until that happens, this nonsense is going to continue. And I am telling you that if the naturopaths were invited to the table and if our advice was listened to open-mindedly outside of the purview of pharmaceutical influence and intervention and stops, this would be a completely different scenario. And I've referenced this in other videos that I've done. Homeopathic medicine, which is disbelieved by the majority of doctors in the world, whether they're MDs or PhDs, has proven unbelievably successful in with over 95 million people treated prophylactically, preventively for influenza outbreaks, dengue fever outbreaks, and meningococcal outbreaks in India, Brazil, and Cuba. State-sponsored government programs. But oh no, homeopathy, that's quack medicine. Well, thus spake the MD. And this is just not right. So look, if you're frustrated that everything's shut down, especially if you had a growing business and now it's been shuttered and now you don't know what to do, and holy smokes, it's the FDA's fault, ladies and gentlemen. That's who is to blame. The American Medical Association and the Food and Drug Administration have been in charge of, they are the people who put the medical monopoly in place. And again, it is such an overarching monopoly that most people don't even know that it exists. Joseph Goebbels would be proud of that PR. For goodness sakes, you need to educate yourself about alternatives to the allopathic MD-directed medical treatment way, because it's a horrible way if you're dealing with a chronic illness and or if you want to make your body healthier, and or how to deal with, prevent, or handle a viral infection. You should have talked to the naturopaths first, but you didn't. And more's the pity. I think, like the fella said, history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. If the story's true, not everybody got onto Noah's Ark. Well, it's the same here. Educate yourself right now, because there are alternatives which are science-based, clinically verified, and extremely effective to help bring your body into a strong state of health and deal with chronic illnesses and viral stress. I am and always will be, God willing and the creek don't rise, your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden, and see you next time.